So I'm so excited about tonight's presentation. So I don't know if a lot of you know my background. So when I graduated from veterinary school, I immediately went into the United States Army and took care of military working dogs. And that's what I did exclusively for the first 4 years when I got out of school. So working dogs are very, very near and dear to my heart. So I love all of these ladies because they all have a really fantastic group of animals that love and live to do these different types of activities. And I'm so excited for you to find more out about these activities, how to get involved, what pets may really excel at these types of activities, and then how do you do it? What does it take to get involved in some of these groups? So we're going to go through a few different activities today. We're going to be starting with the Wasatch Dock Dogs, which is a dock diving team, and then we'll just kind of move through, and in between each group we'll take a little pause, answer some questions, and then I'll intro the next speaker. All right, so Tatum, Leslie, you guys are up.
Yay, Tatum and Leslie.
Thanks. I have it. Okay. Awesome. So we are, as she kind of already introduced, we are Wasatch Dock Dogs. So we are an affiliate club with an organization called Dock Dogs. So Dock Dogs there's several dock diving organizations. So the sport that we are presenting is dock diving. Dock Dogs is the organization that we are affiliated with. So what is Dock Dogs? I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or ever heard of it, but Dock Dogs is a canine aquatic sport. So essentially, there is a giant swimming pool with a giant dock, and the dogs jump off the dock into the swimming pool. So that's just basically what it is. So Dock Dogs competitions are held almost every weekend around the country and in Canada. So if you ever want to compete, in Australia. So if you want to compete, just look on their website, and there's probably an event locally. Trying to get more in Utah, not right now, but we're working on it.
Part of the club's main goal is to be able to bring Dock Dogs to closer up here in our region. So Utah, Wyoming, Idaho. Right now, most of our events are in Colorado. We just had a couple here, and we're working to get really hard to get a bunch more here locally for everyone to come and try out.
So the basics of Dock Dogs. Dock Dogs uses a 40-foot swimming pool, 40 by 20. It's about 4.5 feet deep, and a 40-foot dock. That's essentially what it looks like. This is a mobile dock. Dock Dogs travels with about 20 mobile docks. Every weekend, all over the country, they have docks going. So they travel with a truck. They essentially set this up. The dock is just a rig that they shove everything into. They roll out the pool, they fill it up, and that's what it looks like. This is at a fair, which is most common, well, not most common, but pretty common for Dock Dogs. So this is what it looks like. So who can compete? So Dock Dogs and Wasatch Dock Dogs, we don't discriminate on breed, size, age. So any dog can compete. Dogs must be at least 6 months of age to compete in a competition. We do recommend that dogs even younger just start swimming, but 6 months of age to actually compete in a Dock Dogs competition. And then the most important piece, dogs must be able to swim. So Dock Dogs has, instead of, you see the pool, you see the dock, dogs just jump off into the water. There is a little bit more involved in dock diving. Once you get more into it, there are 3 different disciplines that you can compete in. Big air, extreme vertical, and speed retrieve are the 3. And then there is a iron dog score involved at the end. If you compete in all 3, you can get a score at the end for what we call iron dog. So big air is the most common. This is what most dogs do just starting out. Maybe you don't know the sport. You can enter your dog into big air. It's kind of the easiest for a dog. The dog just has to jump off the dock into the pool. So it starts at -1 foot. So, we've seen little miniature poodles jump 6 inches. Yep. And I think the world record right now is 31 feet. 31 feet. Yep, yeah. So big air is just, we call it the long jump for dogs. So you can use the 40-foot dock. You can start your dog anywhere along that dock. Some people use 40 feet, some use 2. It just depends. Some use a sit stay, some don't. It just depends on the dog. The point is just getting the dog into the water. You can't push your dog into the water, no forward motion. So we train people, don't push them, let them go on their own. You use the toy that is the most interesting to your dog. It doesn't matter what it is.
It can float.
As long as it can float. That's a good point.
Floating is important.
A lot of us use bumpers. You bring it up. Bumpers to throw into the water that are actually made, I guess, for dock diving is kind of where they originated. Some people use tennis balls, some use frisbees. I've seen somebody use a big chunk of wood. So Dock Dog says so long as it's not alive or never been alive, you can throw it into the pool for your dog. So this is just kind of an example of a bumper that we would throw into the water for the dog. A lot of us use this, which we'll get to here in a minute, for a different discipline. So we use it for big air to get the dog kind of driven towards this toy. So just to get into big air a little bit more, it was the original discipline for dock diving. So dock diving consists of one dog and one handler. So unlike some other organizations of dock diving, you register with your dog and you are the only one that can jump your dog. So it's a team sport, you work together, you and one dog. You can jump with many dogs in separate waves, we call them, but it is a team sport. You are allotted 90 seconds when you get on the dock. So you have a minute to whether or not you make your dog stay, whatever you choose to do, you have a minute to get them in the water, or actually in motion towards the water. Let's see. So for dock dogs, for the national events, they do use technology, digital video technology to measure how far the dog jumps. The jump is measured from where the base of the tail meets the back of the butt of the dog, essentially. Some dock diving organizations do use nose measurements. Dock Dogs measures from the base of the tail. And then there are we do some club events that it is just a visual measurement. So you have a judge on the side of the pool measuring the dog. So two different techniques.
The reason that they judge from the base of the tail is that so it's fair for every size of dog. So, you have some big dogs and you have some little dogs, but it's always going to be measured from the same exact spot. The big dogs don't have that advantage of having, like 17 inches on the little dogs. So it's always fair for every dog that's coming to jump.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. So the next discipline is extreme vertical. Extreme vertical is the high jump for dogs. So this is where this little bumper comes in, and you can see that's Cindy's dog, Kraken, in extreme vertical. So extreme vertical, the dog has to start at the 20-foot mark or in front of the 20-foot mark, 20 foot in front, on the dock. So you don't get 40 feet of the dock, you only get 20 feet. You get to start your dog wherever you feel necessary to start your dog, and the point of extreme vertical is just for the dog to jump up and grab the bumper. So in dock dogs, the lowest height is 4'6", and it goes up 2 inch increments every time. So if dog grabs the first bumper, they get to go again. There's usually 10, 15 other dogs in line, but they go up 2 feet increments. Leslie's dog's almost at 8 feet. So it gets pretty amazing to see how far the dogs can jump. You get 2 chances, you miss twice, you get eliminated from the competition. So it's pretty competitive, but also fun.
Yeah. World record right now is 8 feet 10 inches off the dock. So, which makes it 10 feet off the water for the dog jumping up to get the bumper.
That one?
Some sort of.
It's like a pound, yeah. But, oh yeah, you can go to the next one. And then now the third is speed retrieve. So speed retrieve is our timed event. So we time how fast the dog can get to the end. So the bumper is held at the very end of the pool, 2 inches off the water. So they hang this. There are some, I don't know if it goes into it here, there are some lights that we hate.
They look like drag racing lights for drag racing cars. So there's a red, yellow, green light, and you time the lights. When the light goes green, you let go of your dog, and they swim as fast as they can off the end of the dock to pull the bumper off the magnets.
Yep, and once they pull the bumper down, the time stops. So this is a little different again from other organizations that time the whole way back to the end of the pool. But the goal is to get the dog really driven for this bumper, send him off the dock, let him jump into the water. You get 20 feet on the dock again for this discipline. So there's a marker on the dock at 20 feet. You can't go beyond that 20-foot mark. You have to be in the 2-foot box, and you let your dog go, and they swim to the end of the pool. This is Leslie's dog, Cap, grabbing the bumper at the end of the pool. And I think the fastest time right now, world record, is 4.5, 4.3,
4.2.
And that was just set this past year, Spitfire. I think Spitfire's got it, yeah. So that was just set this past year at the World Championships, actually, in the finals. So exciting to watch. I think it's a Whippet that has the world record. So how do you get started? Well, like I said earlier, the first step is to make sure your dog can swim. Oftentimes, as a club, we see dogs that come out to events, they jump in the water and they panic because they can't swim. So what we ask is don't throw a toy into the water unless you know your dog can swim. You know, and a lot of people say my dog has been in a local river, he's been in lakes, it's no problem. The water is completely different in a swimming pool. Dogs see the end of the swimming pool, the bottom. They don't know that there's water there. So we ask that you try swimming in a clear water swimming pool first before you enter a competition. Just get them used to it. So go to a pool, try it out. We at Wasatch Dock Dogs work with 2 great swimming pools that can get you started if you're interested. So the first one is Ohana Canine Training. So Cassie Swift has been in dock diving for many years. She's got a world record dog. Her swimming pool is in Plain City. So she has a half swimming pool, so we recommend it for dogs that are just learning to swim, maybe only jump a couple feet off the dock, just getting them off the dock and get them used to it. Her contact information is here, and you can also we have cards and pamphlets up here with information as well. The next is Barley's Canine Recreation Center. They do have a full-size swimming pool. They don't have a dock, but this is great for just getting the dog into the water, getting them swimming. You'll see here, these are Leslie's dogs with some life vests on, just starting to swim. At Barley's, they do require a swim eval first, so just like we like to do, take the precaution, even if you say the dog can swim, make sure they're okay in this kind of water, that they feel comfortable, throw a life vest on them, let them jump off into the pool. So Barley's Canine Recreation Center, you can find them on Google. Leslie's willing to swim your dog there if you want. So if dock diving sounds fun for you guys, stop by. We have brochures, we've got business cards, we've got applications if you want to sign up to be a club member. We do have lots of exciting things happening with our club this year, so if you want to be involved, please sign up.
Additional questions, Tatum and I, we're around a lot, so we'll be here for most of the seminars like this. We're pretty much around all the time. So, and Cindy is on our board. She's our secretary, so she is more than willing to answer questions as well.
Awesome. Do you guys have any questions? Oh, we have a video. 1 second. And just to kind of clear, I know one thing we didn't mention, you'll see all the dogs jumping different distances. You're not competing against every dog in the competition, so you are only competing with dogs in your division. So I think it goes like every 10 feet or so. So you know, the 30-foot jumping dog doesn't compete with the 2-foot jumping dog. So you do have competitions or different divisions so that it's competitive for each dog. I think we had some questions.
So when you go to a competition and you enter a wave, is the wave mean just is it big air where they just jump?
Yes.
So how can you go to a competition and just enter speed retrieve?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. You can enter any of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can enter anything individually.
Yep.
Is that like at the end or is it?
Usually they'll put out the schedule. So during the day, they'll usually jump a couple big air waves, and then at the end of the day, they'll do speed retrieve one day and extreme vertical the next day. So they're not back to back.
Yeah. Usually it's the second day for speed.
Right.
Yeah.
You want your dog to be able to
Yep.
recognize
Yep.
that bumper that's either clear at the end of the pool, yes, good job, or hanging up above.
Yep.
So big air, you know, if you throw it, that's going to be their motivation. But if something's just hanging, you want them to know that it's just hanging. So
Yep.
that just makes
One
it
of my
a
dogs can jump, so.
Well, and they do it a lot of most events, especially around here that aren't quite as busy. They do give you practice time as well. So you can pay just for practice time and then enter into the wave later if that's something that works for you. So, any other questions? Yeah.
You mentioned there were the two pools. You mentioned there were the two pools where you could take your dog to learn to get used to the water and the swim. Do they also train them to do these various activities?
Yeah. So Cassie at Ohana, they do. She has got the full setup, so she can set up everything for you for all 3 disciplines and get them going.
So if your dog is already a good swimmer, are there other locations where you could get the same kind of training? Where they-
Not currently in Utah. We're working on it. So right now, just those 2.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, ladies.
good job. Could you guys all hear me? I don't think it's any better. And it used to display their time, but this became kind of a beast to set up and run. We were invited to go a lot of places with it. We used to go to Wags for Wishes. That was great because we would take all of our money after expenses and donate it to Wags, and kids got to have their wish granted. Yeah, it was really cool. One kid wanted to swim with the dolphins, and he got to swim with them. We got a picture of him swimming, so that was really cool. So we used to go to Southern California. We went down to Scottsdale to the Sinus Sport games. We would run for 4 days, dog after dog after dog after dog after dog. And they just love it. And if you've ever seen it, it's pretty cool. They're pretty interested in it, and they're funny. It took 12 people to run that. And we would pull it down with our motorhome, with a trailer. We'd get it set up, and it was totally a beast. While we're running it, it was a blast. But setting it up and taking it down wasn't so much. So we decided, well, you know what? We're going to offer it to the Utah dogs because there's really not a whole lot in Utah for the dogs just for fun. So the Humane Society gave us a leg up, and they invited us to their very first adopt-a-thon. And we went, and it was a great turnout, and they said, come back anytime you want. And so we started going once a month. And it was really cool. We met a lot of new people, a lot of new dogs. It was a lot of fun. We went down to Thanksgiving Point. We partnered up with Splash Dogs and the Davis County Fair. Where else did we go? So now, here's where we are. Now we're at Draper Days. It's coming. Very good. Thank you, Debbie. So we're going to be at Draper Days, Draper City Park, July 12th and 13th. The Splash Dogs is going to be there. We're going to run the lure course for 2 days. So if you guys haven't seen it and you want to come run your dog, they don't have to have any training. Most dogs take right to it. They chase a lure around about a 300 to 400 foot course, and sometimes it's a garbage bag and not a shopping bag because it rustles. And so as they're chasing it, they'll go through a tunnel, over jumps, around a corner, over some hurdles, around another corner, and into a catch pen. And we like to get kids to be in the catch pen to catch the dogs because they really like it. And then they just hand the dog back to the owner. You can rerun your dog as many times as you want. Benefits of this are the dog needs no training. Any dog can do it. It exposes a house, kind of a couch dog, to a new environment and new fun. They can see kind of like agility obstacles. So if you want to take them further and do agility, at least they've seen them. They've run through a tunnel, they've gone over jumps, they've gone through a tire. It builds their confidence. So just a quick little story. I had a Jack Russell Terrier named Desi, and I took her to the Jack Russell Terrier racing. And they lifted up the start box, and everybody took off, and she ran around the back. I'm like, really, Desi? So I took her over to the lure course, and we let her run, and I brought her back over to the racing, and she took off like a bat out of, and I don't know what she came in, but she raced. So it built her confidence. She felt comfortable with it. It's great for socialization for the dogs. We ask that they're always on a leash, a short, strong leash, not a flexi. And another benefit is owners meet new people. We make new friends. A lot of us have all met because of that lure course. So, Draper Days, July 12th and 13th. Come on out. And if you I'll do this. If you come out and say, I heard about this at Dr. Pam's, I'll give you a free run. Debbie, do you have anything to say? Oh, I want to just tell you about Debbie. She does all the fixing of things out in the center. She runs the lure. I can too, but she runs the lure. If anything breaks, she fixes it. She charges the batteries. She'll be like, Cindy, did you remember to do this? Did you remember to do that? Did you order this? So she's pretty much the brains of it. I couldn't do it without her. We got a video.
I was going to say, I think I have 3.
We have 3 videos.
I don't know, do you want to talk about it as it goes?
You bet.
All right.
So the Humane...
It's become a regular feature at the Humane Society of Utah.
There it is. So you see the lure there? That's what they're chasing.
It's called Course Allure, and it's the brainchild of Bob and Cindy Conwell, who set a course back in 2005 to create a sport for canines.
All dogs do it. It appeals to their natural instinct to chase.
Just about once a month, the chase is on for dogs of all size, age, or breed.
We have Jack Russells, and we would take them to Jack Russell trials, and when they race in the trials, they chase a foxtail pulled on a string down a straightaway. And it just built from a backyard little obstacle course to this. We thought, there's just not enough stuff in Utah for Utah dogs to do that's fun. So the Humane Society was actually our opening. They offered us this venue to come once a month and set it up and offer it to the Utah dogs, and it's just taken off from there.
In fact, it's become so popular, hundreds of owners will show up on almost any given weekend to put their pups to the test.
Once they run through it and realize that nothing out there is going to hurt them and that it's fun, they take right to it. People are starting to realize that it's here once a month and they can have fun and bring their dogs, and it takes no prior experience or training. It's just fun, fun, fun.
Truth is, once a dog catches sight of the furry little lure, this course is virtually no obstacle. As they pursue their prey, they are racing against the clock. But in this race, everyone is a winner.
You're right, there are no losers out here. Nope, it's a lot of fun. It's good for dogs to get out and socialize, and then the humans get out and there's other humans with dogs, and we all meet, we all get to know each other, and pretty soon we all meet here once a month. So we really enjoy it. We really enjoy meeting the people and meeting the dogs and watching them grow and have fun with it.
If you'd like more information and a list of upcoming events, go to courseallure.com and keep an eye on utahhumane.org.
All right, any questions? the Animal Care Center post for tonight, we'll go ahead and link all the sites for all the different groups that are presenting tonight, just so that way you have an easy way to get in contact with them.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, that looks fun. I can't wait to come out to Draper Days. Thank you, ladies. All right,
Now we get
we have up some fly ball.
Yes. So, can you hear me okay? Okay. So I just have a question. How many have heard of flyball? How many have seen flyball? We're Turn and Burn Flyball, and there's several of the team members here, as Cindy and Tatum's a new member in the back, and Deb. Where'd you go, Deb? So we have a few members here. So flyball it's a very high-speed relay race for dogs. The dogs go crazy over flyball, a little different than some of the stuff that you've seen. My dogs go crazy over dock diving too, but they really are crazy about flyball because it's such a high-speed, exciting, a lot of barking dogs. They really, really, really like flyball. It originated in the 1960s and 70s. There's two associations in the U.S. for flyball. One of them is NAFA, and that's the North American Flyball Association. It originated in 1984. They're both they're kind of close. They're a little different, but just based kind of on jump height. The association that we use most often is UFly, which is the United Flyball Association. So most of the tournaments that we see in this area are UFly. Basically, the what?
Indoors.
And it's usually indoors where NAFA is outdoors. NAFA's jump heights are higher, so I think the trend has been a lot of people prefer to keep the jump heights lower and go with UFly. If that makes you'll see that as we go through the presentation. Who can participate in flyball? Any dog can participate. It takes a little more training than course allure, of course, but any dog can participate with the right training. Okay. So the racing setup in flyball, if you haven't seen flyball, you can kind of see in the picture here, these are the jumps that the dogs run over. There's a lane that's set up. Actually, in racing, there's two lanes. So the whole lane from the box to the start line is 51 feet. So it's quite a ways, so the dogs have to be in pretty good condition to run flyball. And there's 4 jumps. They're 10 feet apart. The jumps are 24-inch wide. You can kind of see the jumps there. Usually what we call is a run back. So you have the lane, and then after you have the lane, I guess you could say where you catch the dogs after they've done racing is called the run back. So as we're running away from our dogs, we have our run back and our tug, and that's kind of where the free area is, where we're catching our dogs that are racing, if that makes sense. There's 2 lanes, so 2 teams run against each other. So it is a competitive team sport? Okay.
You can watch the dogs
Yeah.
with the other team. They'll look. They'll
They
watch.
will.
They'll wait, and then when they start running, they'll check each other out.
Yep, they will. Even sometimes as puppies, they will be, I'm going to beat you. Ready? Are you ready to go? So Cindy has a puppy right now that.
We just worked him through
Yep.
crossing over.
Yep. So this is the flyball box. This is just a picture that I got. Our actual flyball box has 4 holes. So 2 to 4 holes in the box. It's spring loaded, meaning you push a lever and the tennis ball goes in one of the holes. So depending on which way they turn, if they turn to the right or the left, you'll push the lever in, which will spring load the ball. And as the dog hits this part right here, it releases the ball and it does pop out of the box. So
You hardly see it because they're so fast to grab it.
we do use a tennis ball, but sometimes if dogs are tennis ball obsessed or maybe they like the tennis ball so much that they chew on it on the way back, we will use other kinds of tennis balls. Cruisin uses an orange rubber ball.
Said I like the orange one.
The small dogs will use a really small tennis ball, so we do kind of vary the balls according to the dog. There's also a box loader, so you can kind of see in the back of the box, it's kind of a place for them to stand. You can't see it very well in this picture, but the dogs do have to get used to a person standing in back of the box. So that person, and sometimes you will fly to the wall. You will be hit hard. So yeah, okay. So how does it work here? So this is just a picture of a team lining up for flyball. Like I said, 2 teams race against each other. So you would see another team on the other side kind of lined up the same way as the dogs are getting ready to run. There is a judge that stands in the middle. So if you were a lane here and you were a lane, there would be a judge standing in the middle that would be making sure that the rules are followed. There's start lights, so what you're trying to do if you're the start dog is you're trying to time your run. So I'm letting go of my dog by the time the green light. It takes a little bit of practice. So you're timing your release based on, so you want to get the best time possible by the time I release the dog and that green light goes on, if that makes sense.
Through that start line, just as the light goes green, then their start time is really good.
Yep, if that
That's
makes
what you're
sense.
trying for.
So that's
She's had a
that's
triple
pretty
zero.
fun. It's pretty fun to kind of, if you like to be competitive, I kind of like to time my run is all right. So I want to get as close to that 0, 0, 0 as possible. So that's one of the fun parts about it. So there is a line with a timer that's called the start line. And the rules are pretty simple. You know, the dog has to go down the lane, he has to get the ball out of the box, and he has to carry the ball all the way back over for the 4 jumps all the way back. So all 4 dogs on the team have to do the same thing to complete the race, and we call it a clean run. So,
And it's a nose-to-nose pass. So not only does the start dog, you want him to cross that line at the green light, on the way back, you're going to let the second dog go so they pass nose to nose through that start line. He makes his run, third dog goes nose to nose, and then the last dog it just comes back. So we practice that a lot.
it's pretty fun if you get a nose-to-nose, you know, going through that start line. That's a pretty fun thing to be able to do, actually. So we call it the craziness because it really is kind of crazy and fun and exciting, and we all love it. But so when we go to a tournament, they do, you know, to kind of make it fair for everyone, they divide the tournament into divisions. So that means that there might be 5 teams that's based on the time that the seed time for the team. So our team's not going to be competing against the world record holders that live in Las Vegas. So we don't want to compete against that team because they're amazing. It's pretty crazy. But so they have divisions, and we're going to place each team in the appropriate division based on their time. So the racing is pretty competitive no matter what kind of team you have. Even if you have, we call it the old dog team, kind of, you know, the dogs that have run for a while, they've slowed down, they can still play and have fun, and there's a great division for them to enjoy it too. The other thing is that every time we race, there could be up to 5 races per heat. So we're going to do a race, all 4 dogs are going to run, and we could do that up to 5 times. So, and of those 5 times, we could have 5 races every day. So it's a lot of running, it's a lot of exertion energy-wise for the dogs and for us, too, actually. Yeah, we have to run too, so it's, you know, I get my workout also. So the goal is to be the fastest team with a clean run. Those are the teams that are going to get the win. Dogs accumulate points for titles. And the winning teams, at the end of the day, the winning teams are awarded with dog toys. So the dogs get their reward, they get their toy. And we are awarded with the memories and the time spent with our team. And it's pretty fun, and points for our dogs. So yeah, so it's a blast. It's really fun. So this is if you haven't seen flyball, this is a team run. So this is the video. So it's pretty loud. This is actually Sage, Dharma, Cosmo, and Jane. This is one of our kind of a little bit older dogs. Sometimes the smaller dogs don't run as fast. So the next video is one of our A teams. We say the A team. So this is our last tournament. Tonic, Dharma, Kraken, and Cosmo. These guys are pretty good. So you see the jumps are a little higher.
You won!
There we go. So we won that one. So, yeah. So that's kind of, and you see the jump height on that one's a lot higher than the other one. So that's based on the height of the smallest dog.
They're called a height
So,
dog.
yeah, they're called a height
Set the
dog.
height
So,
of the jumps. So if they
Yeah.
have a little, if they're like 6 or 7 inches, they'll keep those jumps
Yeah.
low. And if they're fast, it's such a benefit because it's a fast small dog, and then big dogs just go.
yeah. So the next one, so when you're training dogs, I didn't put this in here, but it might be next. But when you're training a dog, of course the team racing, that's the ultimate goal. So you want to get the dogs trained, and it's a little bit of training. It's a pretty big commitment. But once the dogs learn everything, they learn their recall and they learn how to do their box turn. Usually we start them what's called singles racing. So this is what singles racing looks like, and this is Cindy's cute little handsome boy cruising. So that,
know to drop it.
yeah. So he did pretty good. So that's a pretty good singles race for a new dog. So that's exciting too. After they do singles racing, we kind of up the ante a little bit, and we teach them to run with another dog. So they can, they eventually have to get used to running on a team of 4 dogs, and that can get pretty crazy. So we do kind of work with them slowly and get them used to doing everything. So this is an example of what we call pairs. This is Cruisin' and Roomba. Yeah, so pretty fun. So as you can see, the dogs love it. So you didn't see a very close pass there, and that's just part of the training. Sometimes when we're working on the pairs, we're not pushing that too much, depending on what the dog's ready for. So training, what kind of training? A lot of people want to know what kind of training is required for flyball. You can begin racing at the age of 1 when the dog's a year old. And the way that our team believes in training is it's very individualized. Like, all dogs are different. You can't have a cookie cutter training program and just put a dog there and expect they're going to be ready to run in a certain amount of time. Every single dog is different. Every single dog has a different issue, and we work on those issues individually, which is the best thing for the dog. There's a lot of training and recalls. When my dogs were puppies, I would take them hiking with a pocket full of treats, and it's a constantly working on the recall. But if you think about it, working on a recall with your dog is probably one of the best skills that you can teach your dog too, because if they're running away in a dangerous situation and you've got a good recall, then you've got your dog back and your dog is safe. So it's a lot of training on the recall, which the first year of their training is pretty much what we focus on, is the recall. They're too young to do anything else, but they're going to have a really good recall. The box training is a little more complicated. It's a little bit harder to teach the box work, and so it's kind of a progression of skills that we teach them, from jumping over a gutter, teaching them how to turn their body in the air to land so they're ready to get off the box. So it's a little bit of technical training that's involved in the when you're doing the box training, and then they have to learn how to get the ball on top of that. So it's a little more complicated on the box training, so it does take some commitment and the training to be consistent in what you're doing so that the dog can learn how to do the sport. General training is always good. You want a good obedient dog. That doesn't always happen though. So flyball is really a good sport, and it really does suit we've had a lot of dogs that have been, just with other dogs, not so well with other dogs, and reactive dogs, and they can still learn to go to a flyball tournament and compete with a team of 4 dogs and do okay. Yeah. So the last part you can see on here is the tug. So if you're wondering what that means, I know I didn't show the run back area, but if you watch in a run back area, what you're going to find is that all the dogs come back to a tug, and the tug is a braided piece of cloth. Sometimes there's a tennis ball at the end, and whatever the toy is. Usually it's a tug, but if they're not tug motivated, you can put a ball on the end, you can put a frisbee on the end, and the whole point of that is that should be your dog's #1 choice of toy for them to run back to. So if you find their number one choice, then you're going to get them that recall back to you as fast as possible. So what we do with the tug is we start tug training them when they're young. If you have a good tug trained dog, they're going to run back to you as fast as possible, and you're going to have that's what you really want in flyball, is to be tug trained. So you want to play flyball. Now what? I think the big thing with people, a lot of people love to see flyball. They watch the videos, and everybody wants their dog to play flyball. The hard thing about flyball is it takes a lot of commitment for it. We practice every week. It is a lot of commitment. We pay dues. If you're not practicing every week, we're not real strict on that. We like you to be there every week, but if you're not, your dog's missing out on a lot of training that they need in order to be able to run in a tournament. So it does take a big commitment in order to play flyball. Conditioning, as you can see, it's all about running. So the better condition, it wouldn't be a good idea to take a dog that hasn't been out and active to a flyball lane and try to have them compete in flyball, because it would be really hard for them. So they do need to be in good condition. There's a lot of benefits to flyball. Like I said, the recall is the best thing I can think of for your dog. We teach dogs a lot of time chasing. They don't know that they're not supposed to chase other dogs. So there's a lot of training and a lot of skills that for flyball that are just lifelong skills for your dog. Like I said, the reactive dogs, they get a really, really good course in being able to be around other dogs and not reacting. So we go to about 6 tournaments every year, and that's not a ton. So compared to the time of practice, the tournaments are just there's not very many, but they're worth it. So it's really fun to go to them. Again, the expectations are, we have someone join our club, they pay dues, you come to practice every week. That's one of the things that a lot of people have the hardest time with, is that commitment. And I mentioned the club dues. Just a few pictures I included with our team. This is mostly practice pictures, but as you can see, the dogs are really happy. They really love this sport. So just a few little examples of the dogs on our team. And this, so this is one really good thing about flyball, is it is a really family, or you wouldn't, from what I've told you, probably wouldn't even think that, but flyball is a very family-oriented sport, meaning that they have a junior handler program, so people can bring their kids out. You start training them how to shag balls. There's a lot of jobs that they can do, and so what they do is they have these kids out there helping, and they give them awards, they give them plaques, they honor them, and they recognize them, because they're the future of flyball. So it's a really big deal. So they have a great junior handler program. So you see all the little kids out there getting involved and helping, and so it can be a family sport too.
We've seen those little kids grow up, and they're running their dogs on
Yep.
their own, and they're big kids now.
Yep.
They all have a dog, and they have a total kid team.
Yep. They do. They have just the teenage team, or whatever you call it, the junior handler team. We have we've had a couple of young kids on our team. One's leaving us. Oh, my heart. And I tell you what, if they're taught the right thing, it's so good for them, and they learn so much, and they're so dedicated, and it's been a really awesome experience for them. So we hope they'll come back and join us later. So for more information, you can contact Turn and Burn Flyball. That's just the email address for any interest in flyball. And questions? Just right here in Salt Lake, we have members that drive from Ogden on Sundays. We practice on Sunday morning. We have some that drive from Orem on Sunday to practice, some from Ogden, and then a lot of people just right here within the Salt Lake area.
So the question was,
yeah.
where do you practice? And then the location is
Yeah.
in Salt Lake.
Yes, Salt Lake. It's actually North Salt Lake where we practice, but our team members are from all over. So, yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Covered it all. That was wonderful.
Got it? Okay, cool.
Love
All right.
those videos. So we have one more topic. All right, Valentina, you ready to go? All right, so we have canine scent detection with Valentina Foster.
It's good to go? All right, thank you. Yes, these are my kids, and the reason why I got involved with this sport, because they are street dogs, meaning they were abandoned at whatever age. She was very young. She was at Davis County Animal Control, and she ended up with a police dog vendor that didn't want her, and she ended up, I took her and I kept her. This guy was also out in the street. The reason why I got involved back in 2001 with doing sport detection is because my dogs needed some help. They were reactive, they were fearful in environment, and I wanted a sport, an activity that they could build confidence from. So in 2001, the National Association of Canine Work was just starting. The founders were narcotic dogs and bomb dogs, and they wanted to bring the professional detection to the public, to where everybody with their dogs, the pet dogs, the dog that is missing a limb, the owner that never trained in their life, could do this successfully. We have competitions. We have dogs don't have to compete. I train my students to do what they would like to do with their dogs. If the dogs are good for competition, I will train them to go to competition, get them ready. Just because they do well at home doesn't mean they are going to do well in a public setting, in a trial setting. Different organizations are different standards, and some dogs will do well in one organization and not the other. But this is an activity that every single one of you can play with your dog. Your dogs don't have to be any high drive. They don't have to be a certain breed. Your couch potato dog can do it. Once you find the right classes and your instructor can help you out with whatever personal individual issue your dog might have. I do take dogs that have aggression issues toward people and other dogs. I'm okay with it as long as my students follow guidelines. There are rules in place. Dogs come out one at a time. People need to be comfortable. They need to be okay with their animals coming in through a classroom. And there's rules in place. They play one by one. So unlike other sports where there's a lot of excitement, your dog come out to work alone, goes back in the car. For downtime, relax. So what we do different than police dogs is that we use illegal substances. We don't use narcotics, we don't use explosives, obviously. We use scent oils. So easily available to the public. You can buy them anywhere. They just have to be they have to be pure scent oil. So you want to be careful what you buy. The three major scents that we train in them are birch, anise, and clove. They are put, the scent oil is put in a little Q-tip. And let's say I train your dog and I put a Q-tip down here. Your dog is going to be able to alert and indicate and let you know there is something here, you need to come and pay me. So you're going to bring the reward to your dog where source is. Where the hide is called source. We teach them to go to there, communicate to you. You could be back here and your dog can tell you it is here, come and pay me. Let's see. We start them, there's different ways to do it. I personally start them on food because food is a primary reinforcement. Dogs have to eat to live. So it's really strong in reinforcement behavior. Dogs are gonna come and majority of dogs come and work for food. Dogs that are toy motivated, great. I like to use toys, but I start them all on food because I want them to think about what they're doing. Sometimes if you have a dog with a higher drive, you bring out a ball, good luck. They're going to try to grab it from your hands. They're focusing on the object versus focusing on a job. So once I put them on food, I can slow them down and think about, you need to go to a target source, let me know it is there, and I will come and pay you. When they understand that I can bring out a toy, because toy bring up arousal. Food is a little bit lower in drive, brings them down a little bit. So he helps me to teach them what it is that I want them to do. What are the benefits of this? Why this has become such a great sport? Not so much in Utah. Apparently Utah is behind on a few things, but dog-wise. Like somebody else mentioned that before. I started in California in 2009 and it was huge. It's become huge. The founders were there. It's become huge because this is about the dog. It's not about personal people ego. Even when you go in competition, you need to be able to be a team with your dog in order for you to work. We work with dogs that are fearful, that are afraid of everything. How am I going to ask this dog to hunt for something when the dog is terrified? They're not going to eat. You can have a piece of a T-bone out there, the dog cannot do it. So we teach them in low distraction environment, in the right classroom, we build them up, and then we take them out the environment. The reason why we want to do this is because a dog that is scared of going out to the park, I introduce him to
I put a value on my source to where the dog is successful, and then I increment the distraction. I take them out there in the environment. I show them boxing. I show them equipment that they come out from the car and like, this is what we're here to do. They have a job. They don't worry about what's happening around there. Down the road, when we build skills and we introduce them to a bunch of different environments, they're going to be able to hunt and work. We don't teach them to hunt. They know what to do. But what happens to our dogs for food? Who feeds the dogs? Is the dog hunting for food? We bring here you go, there's your bowl of food. So they never get to hone those skills because we don't give them the chance. When you're out on a walk with your dog, majority of people will punish them if they pull over there to go and sniff. They want them to be within a reasonable distance, so they really don't get to practice something that is an instinct, pretty much. Part of the, your ownership is also to be able to be a team member with your dog. There's nothing wrong with you going out there on a walk, on a regular walk. Let your dog sniff. This is how they gather information in the environment. They have a lot of, their detection machine, they're made for it. We just take away those opportunities because of lifestyle. They live in the house. We don't have time to walk them all the time. We don't teach them to hunt for food. We don't teach them to hunt for anything. We bring everything to them. Something else that is, this sport is going to train you, if you find the right instructor, they're going to train you to read your dog. You're going to see things in your dogs that you never noticed before. You might be entering a room and your dog is doing this, and you never thought before, what does this matter? It caught odor. And you see something beautiful that is part of who they are. From over here, they know there's something over there behind the gentleman in the back in a little corner. From over here, their nose will go up. They might work odor off of those chairs. Get over there, directly a source. And it's amazing to see because you have to wonder, how can they pick up a few molecules that are traveling through the air from here to there and make a beeline to it? So we can teach them to do that for Q-tips into little tins or some other formal containers. They go to the imprinting phase. I teach them this odor that means nothing to you is paired with a toy down the road or food, mainly is food. So when the dog hits that odor, it gets paid. And we build value for what oil, any scent oil, whatever we use. There's different association out there. AKC is 2 different extra odors. The American Kennel Club is one, which is cypress, the other 2, but it doesn't matter. The easy part, imprinting, teaching them, I want you to detect this substance is very easy. The hard part is to bring it out in the environment and be able to take a dog into the competition or be able to take your dog over here in the little area. That area is full of smell. It's overwhelming for a dog to walk in there. They are, it's like, think about when you smell pizza. You smell pizza as a whole. The dog can smell the pepperoni, the cheese, what kind of vegetables are in it. So when they walk in an area like that, there's a lot of sensory overload. And they have to pick up, among everything, they have to pick up the odor that we want them to find, which is pretty impressive. There's no obedience involved, which is great for a lot of people. They feel embarrassed going to any class because they don't know how to train dogs. This doesn't matter. If I am training you, I will train you. I'll train your dog, but I will train you to read your dog. I can do it easily, but your job is you have to handle the dog. So it's really it really teaches a lot about a relationship with the animal. And it teaches you to pay attention. What is the dog telling us? Why is the dog not hunting in this moment? What is going on with the body language that tells me I need to put him back in the car? This will be beneficial on anything else that you do with your animal. Now you go on a walk, you cross by a park, your dog is going to perform some behavior, and because of what you see in class, you've seen it before, you're like, okay, it's over threshold. This is a term that we use to mean the dog cannot cope with the environment right now. We need to take a step back. We might need to move it from point A to point B to help him out. So this transferred in a lot of the things that you're going to do with your dog, even if you just have a pet. Competition is nice. A lot of people enjoy this. I have a lady, it's a 72 years old lady that has never done anything with really dogs that much, and she got 2 titles within a year since we started to work together, and of course she's super happy. And the dog was fearful. when the dog came to us, you want to put a couple of pictures? There's several pictures of some of my student dogs just so people can see that all kind of breeds can there's some Great Danes, there's some Bully Mix, there's some Chihuahuas. So even people that have never done anything with their dogs can learn to do something with them. Let's see. Oh, dogs of different age can go. I take puppy as young at 8 weeks old from your 13 years old dog. If your dog is kind of some health issues going on, cancer, they miss a limb, anything, I just need to know so that I can think about how can I set up my search environment for this dog to be successful. Because 13 years old dog is not like a 2 years old dog. They can still hunt, but we need to take that in consideration. They might need a little bit of extra help. These are really this animal. That's my Maggie. She is just alerted to there was anise inside this can. So she's telling me, I need you to come and pay me right now because I found what you wanted me to find. Do you want to play her video? It says working off the wall. So this is an example of what the final behavior is, what we're looking for. And keep in mind, this dog has some fearful issues. And so I had to build it from the beginning. And I'm bringing it out to a school. No, it wasn't a school. Some other building that she's never seen before. And I can send her to hunt for that oil. Is it playing? Oh, actually, this one on the dock. So I bring it out to a reservoir. So this is a new place to her. There are 3 eyes out there. The dog has to figure out where they are on the dog, and she has to tell me. And I have to read her in order to go. So watch what happened here. Do you see that? That's a change of behavior. She detected there's one single Q-tip with a drop of scent oil on it. She has to specify what it is, and she's going to work through the little crack and tell me, come pay me. So in competition, you might have multiple hides. That's the first one. I'm going to send them to find some more. And if you see the dog is working away from me, I'm not leading her. I'm letting her make a choice. She has to be comfortable enough to be away from me. So she's got another one on the pipe coming out of the wall, and she's got another one somewhere. And this is working on water, which has its own challenges. So see how she goes. Now, a lot of dogs will be terrified of being over there over water. But this is so important for her because we built such a big history of reinforcement that she wants to go to it no matter what's out there. She stay where it is. She keep pointing her nose now, and she keep telling me, you need to come and pay me. Good girl. There's another video class. I think it's called Dogtown.
The class one?
Yes. It's easier for people to see what the dogs can do than really explaining it. This is a continuing on scent class. The dog will already run on food. It's a little Chihuahua mix. There's a bunch of hot dogs in those bags, and she's leaving them to go to the target order that she was trained for. So German Shepherd puppy, 8 months. He's already on auto. He's got his reward out there. This dog, the first 3 days of class, wouldn't move away from the handler. And look how he's moving now. Tail is up, his behavior, his body language is telling you, I'm comfortable enough to perform a task. And you cannot force him. You cannot force a dog to hunt. If they're stressed over the environment, you might as well you put them back in the car. This is making a decision. Where do I stop? Right there. Where the other is. Same with this guy. This is pattern work. I want him to check each and every bowl, because in competition there will be boxes, there will be other containers. And if the dog put their nose over the container, I have a better chance of their detecting what's inside. So we teach them, boom, 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 find your hide. You can send them, they will find it regardless. They don't necessarily have to have a pattern, but I found that in competition, this helps you. They put their nose on, the little odor is coming out of the steam. It's easier for a dog to tell you, I am sure it is here. It can be challenging depending on where you put your hides. Search areas start from very simple. A couple of boxes here with food. The dog finds the box with the food in it, sells rewards. We're going to come in and pay a little bit more. This is how we started. Every dog is dealt with for who he is. I don't have a curriculum. You don't have to follow 100% what the person before you did. You come in, I'm going to evaluate your dog and decide, I'm not going to do this for this dog. He's not ready. Why would I want to do it to him? The next dog might be ready. The German Shepherd puppy, he was put on order right away. He could deal with it. He could handle it. So it depends on the animal. We just want to start. I prefer start all dogs on food because again they are gonna go and try to find the food. It is natural. They're gonna eat it. They're gonna self-reward. It's gonna build a history of reinforcement. So there's more chance if that is gonna happen again. What am I forgetting? Any particular question about this? Yes. Question.
Of the 3 scents that you start off with, the anise, the clove, and the, I forgot the third one. What? Cypress?
Birch.
Birch, yes.
Birch, clove, and anise, they are, every association you does. So this is where I start them all. If you're never going to compete UKC or AKC, I don't need to put your dog on that order. But if you tell me I want to go to the trial, then I need to introduce your dog to that order. So three.
The reason those are they?
So the anise, birch, and clove, they were the orders that were put out by the founding association. So the association that really brought this to the public back in 2009, they had the first trial. This was the orders that were out there. Other organization copy bits and pieces, and they decided to be different, to add a couple different orders. But that is not the challenge. It's easy to imprint a dog to this is valuable. You tell me when you find it. I can do that with 10, I can do that with 20 orders, it doesn't matter. The hard part is to really be able to work with a specific animal and teach them, help them out through whatever environmental challenges they're facing to be able to hunt. No dog is gonna hunt if they're stressful. So this is really a good indicator. If you go out there and you decide, I want to work my dog with a few boxes in a park, now your dog is coming out, see the boxes, he's like, no, I don't really. And you wonder, oh, what a bad dog. At home he's doing great. In class he was doing great. He's just telling you, I am not ready for this. This is too much. So what you need to do, you put your dog back in the car, you go somewhere where it's quieter, put your box in now, make sure you pay big time for it in the box, put him back in the car, good boy, go home. So it's really valuable for owner to have instead of having an expectation, my dog needs to do this right now, my dog needs to do this to try. You need to learn to read what your dog is telling you, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do anything that involves hunting. Any other, somebody else? Yes?
Do you think it's possible to teach them to find another pet, say a cat hiding under the couch that I thought got out and looked for
you, for yourself?
Yeah.
Is it possible? Sure. So I would have to imprint the dog to a specific sign of the animal. Could be skin dangerous, could be other stuff. It is certainly possible. You can imprint your dog to find a piece of paper. If I wanted to, your keys. I can train your dog to find your keys in the house. I just see, there you go. I got a new business going on over here. Yeah, right there. Find a key. I need to do it because I lose my keys like 10 times. I never thought about it. Yeah, we can train him to find anything. We can train him to find the piece of tape. The challenge when we train scent oil, if I teach him to find this piece of paper, what else in this piece of paper? Ink. So every time you imprint a dog, you got to think about it. What am I conditioning that dog to? So this is what a lot of trainers makes a lot of mistake. They will bring out a container, a metal tin. They put a Q-tip. The dog never learned to work away from the tin. So now the same picture is Q-tip. So there's a little bit of cotton, scent oil, and metal. So once you put the odor in a piece of plastic, in a PVC pot, in something else, the dog doesn't know what to do with it because what is the metal part of it? What is the component? So those are like things to keep in consideration if people know what they're doing. It's not the end of the world because if your dog doesn't alert to a tin, but if we want to be serious and want to talk about scent detection done right, you want to think about those little pieces and bits. Which is why a lot of people that go to trial, their dogs are alerting to random card boxes, random things that are there. They probably made an association with it. The training wasn't done right. Something happened down the road. So there has to be some skills. But really, the good thing about it is you don't need to know anything about dogs. You don't need to be any specific age. You don't have to be in shape. It will help. Your dog, of course, it would help your dog not to be 140 pounds when it should be at 80. So, but it's the main reason that really this sport got big is because everybody can play. Everybody. Little kids can learn too. I don't want little kids in class necessarily only because I take dogs that might not be comfortable around children. If I do privates, you're welcome to bring it as long as your dog is safe. Don't bring your child with your dog that want to eat your child, because yeah, that wouldn't work quite well, but we can use that to teach him to actually like the child. Any other question? Oh, just for common knowledge, does anybody know how many, where did it go? How many olfactory receptors dogs have? And if I find and make sure that I tell you the right information. And anybody else? How many millions? How many millions dogs? Oh, yeah. You better know that.
This is her husband.
No, don't.
300 million.
I'll take 300 millions, okay? We have 5 million. This is why we only smell pizza. If we're lucky, the cheese, the dogs are going to smell every little bit of pieces on it. They're going to detect those little molecules that move through the air way better than we could ever do. They're really machines, which is why we use them for detection work at airports, for bombs, for narcotics, for whatever else we need. A search and rescue, find your keys, whatever. I currently teach classes at Dogtown. Dr. Peng gracefully, and kindly, we're going to start teaching classes here. Okay, I think it's going to be either Monday or Wednesday, so if you are interested, go to my either Facebook page, or I'm going to leave some cards here, grab them. I'm going to start them depending on interest. Your first class, if you are interested, will be an introduction to this. So the dogs are going to be working straight out of order. I don't need any specific equipment. If you could have a harness on the dog so we can grab them and move them off versus grabbing a collar, that would be ideal. I can work with collar, it's fine. Again, no obedience needed. Just bring your dog a crate. They needs to be safely crated. If your dog is stressful in the crate, I don't want it to having to stress for 20 minutes before it's their turn. So you have to condition that at home. Sometimes in privates, I can work with them because we're going to teach them, you go in the crate, you get to hunt. But there's a way to do it by approximation. I don't want to do it in class because I can't attend to your personal dogs, and I don't want it to be stressed in the car when you're inside here watching other dogs. Sounds good? Am I up?
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of our presenters. We're so glad that you were able to join us today. I know that they'll be mingling after the presentation to answer questions and things. And then I'll also post all of their information on our Facebook page, so that way you have contact information and can get in touch with them. But we're so glad that you came to visit with us. Raffle tickets are up at the front, and we hope to see you at Open House this weekend. See y'all.